be the first.
Really, really interesting stuff.
My role is clearly to, I would say...
No, it doesn't, Mathieu. It doesn't. Welcome to our podcast, E-commerce Legend, where we dive deep into the journeys of e-commerce partners and brands. Today, we're joined by Matthieu, Chief Revenue Officer at easiware, with a rich 15-year entrepreneurial history spanning the launch of 3 companies and extensive B2B sales experience. A true veteran in the digital realm, Mathieu's experiences showcase a passion for tech, product design, and user-centric solutions. Welcome to our show, Mathieu. How are you doing this morning?
Really well. And you?
Honestly, all good. It's been a pretty smooth morning.
It's a pleasure to be here with
It's
Shipa.
a pleasure to have you on our show. Thank you so much for being here. Maybe first question for our listeners today. We definitely love to get to know you a bit better. Could you share with us a little bit on your background and what you were up to before joining easiware?
Yeah. So I started my career at Dell as a sales on B2B global accounts, international accounts. It was, of course, a fantastic sales academy for 4 years. But after I decided to take another path as an entrepreneur, and during 12 years, I founded 3 digital companies.
Wow.
The fun fact is that the first one was an e-commerce site selling wine.
Ooh.
I don't know if I can say that I'm an e-commerce legend, but in fact, it was really outstanding experience to me, and I've been doing that for 5 years, and it was really, really amazing in terms of learning. So it's really good memories. And after that, 2 more companies, more B2B and SaaS businesses. Focused on digital communication. And in 2019, I came back to an employee position, joining French Founders as a CRO also. And French Founders is an international business club dedicated to French-speaking entrepreneurs and C-levels. And there, I was in charge of the development of the B2B practice. And now, nearly 1 year ago, I joined easiware, still as a CRO.
How exciting! May I just say, e-commerce selling wine? How French of you!
Usually, when you start your first business, you take your hobbies, your passions, and you say, "Oh, what can I do with that?" And me, it was internet and wine, and I found a match.
I love that for you. All right. Maybe for listeners tuning in, could you break down the core purpose of easiware for us? What it does, why your customers love you?
So easiware basically is a software that helps customer service agent to handle customer requests from multiple channels.
Right.
Could be emails, could be chat, social networks, phone, etc.
So omnichannel.
Omnichannel, but omnichannel with a strong focus on not only the ability to take all these requests, but also the ability for the customer agent to understand the customer, to have we will see that I think after in the questions, but to better understand the customer journey and what he did before with the brand. So we strongly focus on the customer agent experience because we believe that customer satisfaction is possible only if the customer agent have a good experience too.
Right.
And also, I would like to say that as a French and European company, we are really dedicated on data security and sovereignty, because we handle sensitive data, the data of the customer, of our customers. So it's really something we have in mind.
That's super interesting. And, definitely this data aspect is one to watch out for. I'm guessing it was also pretty heavy in terms of, project to implement and make sure that you guys were compliant in that state.
Yeah, we have a lot of French and public clients with a lot of requests concerning security, but also American companies. So we know that they are also quite serious on that question. So yes, it's a good way to be more efficient on this subject.
Yeah, for sure. And especially as you mentioned right before, easiware is not just about being omnichannel and regrouping all the different channels that customer agents communicate on, but also having this really, let's say, holistic approach where everything is centralized. So of course, data is going to be super, super important there.
Yeah, definitely.
I see. And so for all the customer experience managers tuning in, you'll probably find this interesting. Back in 2017, easiware made a fascinating shift. So from a more, let's say, general CRM to a more, specialized omnichannel platform for customer relations. Can you share a little bit about, what prompted that decision and the impact it had on the company? Obviously, right before you touch base a little bit on the omnichannelity of it all, but also, maybe understanding what, made you guys shift in this direction.
First of all, definitely it was a right choice made by easiware, because when you are a small French software competing with giants such as Salesforce, you have to focus. And being a global CRM, it's not really on focus. So you have several ways to focus. You can focus on an industry. You can focus on a certain size of companies. You can focus on a part of the value chain.
Right.
And for, as you said, for easiware, the focus was to concentrate on the customer relationship, customer service, to be precise. Because at this time, Brendan Natural, our CEO and co-founder, identified that there were many ticket management softwares, but not really customer relationship management platforms. So we see a big difference between managing and handling tickets and managing user conversations and customer conversations. So that was really the point, and they decided to focus on that. And that helps us to enjoy 4 years of growth, leading to fundraising with Ardian at the end of 2021.
Let's definitely talk about the fundraising. I will want to come back to the difference between, managing tickets and having this customer relationship software, but we can definitely touch base on that afterwards. So can you tell us a little bit about easiware's decision to secure its first investment round in 2021? What motivated this after 13 years of self-financing?
Yeah, Firstly, as an entrepreneur, for me, it's really incredible to see 13 years of self-financing.
Super impressive.
I think we can be really proud of that, because it shows that the company grew on a healthy and sustainable way. But of course, this is difficult on the day-to-day life for employees, because you have to be careful to your expenses. At your expenses, you have to. You can't invest in recruitment or marketing as much as you would like.
Right.
So it's difficult. And once again, when you compete with giants such as Salesforce and Desk, etc., you have to be able to invest in product development. You have to find other markets, especially abroad. So. The objective of the fundraising were clearly to have the ability to accelerate internationally.
I see. This makes total sense, Mathieu. All this sustainable growth probably was a little bit slower compared to how it's been since this round of investments, I'm guessing.
Yeah, a little bit slower, but now we can say that we have 500 brands as a customer. So I think that
it's beautiful.
It was also a good way to have a strong place on the French market before considering going abroad like ShipUp did.
Amazing. And so maybe can you share a little bit on the primary goals and milestones that easiware would like to achieve through this? You shared a little bit on, the international expansion. Are there others that you'd like to share on?
One of the main objective was clearly product transformation, because of course user needs and technology have evolved since the beginning, since the creation of easiware, and we had to modernize our products. So this was one of the main objective of the fundraising.
Of course,
to focus on product transformation. So we have been working on a new product over the past 2 years.
Okay.
We will talk about that after.
Exciting. So, Mathieu, you mentioned, some new goals with this round of investment, such as international expansion. Could you share maybe some of, the objectives and the milestones that easiware is looking to reach?
The first objective was clearly to focus on our product transformation.
Right.
Because since the creation of easiware, the user needs, the technology have evolved a lot. So we needed to modernize our product.
Right.
So we have been working over the past 2 years on a new product. We launched a few months ago.
Okay.
And
that's exciting.
We strongly believe that this product will help us to achieve the second objective, which is internationalization, as I said. Globalization. So that's really, as I said, the two main objectives we had with this fundraising with Ardian.
And, sneak peek for listeners, any hints or territories that you guys are already looking to conquer in terms of market?
Yeah, we are considering, we don't have the same strategy as ShipUp because you are looking to the north more than to the south. But maybe more the south because Spain, Portugal, Italy, because we believe and what we have analyzed is that our competitors are not so strong over there.
I see.
Markets are not so mature, so I think that we will have things to do in the next years.
Super interesting. Thank you so much for sharing. So now in 2023, easiware has introduced 2 distinct offers based on the size of a brand's, let's say, customer service team. Can you dive a little bit deeper into these 2 offerings, explain their significance, why they make sense, and sort of how they can be applicable to brands?
Yeah. As you know, easiware has 15 years of experience in the market, so we are not a new entrant on the market, and we are also lucky because we have a lot of employees within the company in every department who had previously a job in this sector. So we have people
kind of like you, basically.
Yeah, yeah, and so I think that we have really. We can say honestly that we have a lot of experience, of course, and expertise. And we wanted to put all this knowledge and vision into a new offer, a new product, the product I talked about before, to help also small businesses and mainly pure players to manage customer requests the same way as larger companies do. Because when you have a look at how they manage customer requests, usually it's about email and Excel spreadsheets. So I think that there is a lot of things to do on that, and we think that we wanted to give the tools and the features to this clients, customers. So that's why we call that offer essential, because of course in terms of feature is really the basics.
Right.
But
only the essentials.
Yeah, only the essentials, and really nurtured by all our experience and expertise. So this is the first offer, and the second one is more based on our historical product, Sur Mesure,
right.
Which is a product that has the ability to adapt to our customer needs, customer ecosystem, and more for customer service team from 10 to more than 200 agents.
I see. And this one will be sort of more modular with different bricks that you'll put in place depending on the stack, the needs, etc. because it's a larger team.
Yeah, and you need to connect with the data of the client. You have to integrate with his system.
Right.
So yeah, it's totally different.
Right, I see. And the first one, the essential one, is sort of more plug and play, would you say?
Definitely.
Okay, that's great. That's great that, these smaller brands or DNVBs have the possibility to, benefit from you guys' experience, expertise, and product through, this core offering. Super interesting that you guys were able to adapt to this. And so as the Chief Revenue Officer at easiware, and, for people who are listening who might not know what it entails, what does a day in the life look like?
My role is clearly to gather all the sales, marketing, and customer success team within the same department.
Okay.
Because sometimes
Sounds intense.
You see marketing team and sales team arguing about the impact they have individually, or fighting because they believe that the other one is not listening to him. So it's quite difficult. And I think the same representative on the COMEX is a good way to be aligned on objectives, to talk the same language.
Right.
So that's definitely my role. I spend a lot of time with the teams to help them to step back, to see more broadly what's happening, and to better understand their impact on the customer journey and how they can collaborate. Because talking about marketing, for example, I really believe that marketing is a strong asset for sales and customer success team, but they have to work hand by hand, because
definitely
they can't be separate and in different teams. So that's the main aspect of my job, I would say, and it seems simple.
No, it doesn't, Mathieu. It doesn't. It definitely doesn't sound simple. So yeah, if I understand, your job is really to, align these three sort of more business-facing teams, and, make sure that everyone is working well together, especially given that, these are roles that tend to be hyper-focused on sort of, their KPIs, their objectives, and your role will be to help them, take some height, see things more holistically, and understand like the impact that they will all have on each other.
Yeah, and always keep in mind that our main objective is client satisfaction.
Right.
And sometimes when you are too focused and too into your task, you don't have the capability, the ability to understand what you're doing, and,
for sure,
and how you should react and adapt.
So for all the sales, marketers, and CS people listening, take this advice and roll with it. And so something that I was wondering, especially given that you guys are having this international expansion, how do you guys ensure that easiware remains competitive as it is, and meets the demands of brands across, I think, 105 countries?
Yeah.
That's huge.
In fact, our main difficulty, as I said before, and I would like to focus on that, is competing with tech giants. As I said, we have in front of us companies like Salesforce, like Zendesk, like Freshdesk.
Huge names.
So talking about France or broad European countries, that's our main problem is mainly that. So we definitely need to understand what is our strength, and our strength is clearly our size. It's ironic, but it's definitely our size, like David and Goliath. And our customers they appreciate our agility, our capability to adapt, for example, our roadmap to their needs. Definitely something that these giants can do.
Of course, less flexible.
So we have less friction, less legacy, so it's easier. So we have to understand that. And in the core values of easiware, there is proximity.
Okay.
And proximity, it's definitely something that is really key to our customers, because each customer at easiware has a customer success manager, an account manager, and can be put in contact or can contact directly, of course, the support team, the service team, the product team, and even myself or Brendan. Definitely, if they can't have this level of contact in companies such as Salesforce.
Of course.
So it's a day-to-day fight, because you have to be on the field with the team, but I love that. So that's cool. But I think it's an advice for all startups and French startups competing with giants. Think about your strengths and focus on that, because the war is not lost at the beginning. You have to fight, and there's many ways to fight, even if you don't have the same weapons.
That's great. That's great to hear.
And maybe concerning you are talking about international. We are lucky, because I think that concerning customer service in France, we have quite a mature market on this.
Yeah, I think you do.
When we discuss with prospects from other countries, usually it's quite easy to add value on the table, because not only with our 15 years of experience, but also due to the maturity of the French market concerning customer service, we have good insights and good case studies to share.
Definitely, France is a pretty big market, and to be considered in terms of expertise when it comes to e-commerce. Super interesting. I really like this value of proximity, because I feel, at least, when you talk to me about easiware, that it really transpires at sort of every level. I also love the accessibility that your customers are able to have. With you guys, I think, putting myself in a brand's shoes, that must be super reassuring. Especially obviously right now we're nearing peak season. So yeah, I think it must be really great for them to be able to, access this easiware expertise on a day-to-day.
Yeah, and it's not only about accessibility and proximity, but also proximity with people, as I said before, who sometimes worked in the industry before. Yeah. And they were at the same place as our customers sometimes. So, for example, we have a customer success manager who has been the director of the client relationship for a fitness park, for example. Okay. So when she's talking with a client,
she knows what she's talking about.
She knows what she's talking about. Yeah, definitely.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And, great for your customers to benefit from this experience, because put together, you guys must have years of experience to provide.
Yep.
Very cool. And so easiware, I know, places a really strong emphasis on optimizing customer relationships, as we've mentioned. In the complex e-commerce environment, how would you recommend companies establish and manage an efficient client database? Obviously, this is a huge topic, but if you have some advice for the people listening in.
As you say, the e-commerce is more and more complex.
It is.
Today, brands can sell on several channels. It can be a website, it can be marketplaces, it can be mobile app, even social networks.
Oh yes.
So it's quite difficult to for them, it's of course a huge opportunity in terms of business.
Definitely.
It can be a headache in terms of logistics, in terms of order management, in terms of post-sales customer service. So, as I said before, when I was talking about easiware, we really believe that the experience of the customer must be at the same level, whatever the channel he contact the brand or he purchases his order. So really, it's a question of centralized data, and that's definitely what we do with the customer profile on the platform. When a customer agent receive a request, he has a widget with all the orders of the customers, all the touch points he had, the reviews he let on the platform, etc. To be able to, of course, answer quickly, but also in a intelligent way, considering the customer and not the ticket, as I was talking about before.
I see.
And that's pretty much the difference between ticket management and customer relationship and customer conversation management.
So for the people who are listening, if there was no centralization per se, the customer agent would receive, a ticket, so just one piece of information, and not have this sort of holistic overview of what the customer has been through before, no understanding of where their orders might be. And so with this difference that you're mentioning, this customer profile, the customer agent will have access to all that information, and so be able to treat this sort of request in a more informed manner. Is that correct? Definitely. Did I get that right?
Well, as I said, whatever the channel, because nowadays we see that customers can buy in a shop, in a physical shop. You can buy on the internet. On internet, it can be on marketplaces, as I said, or the website of the brand. But if you don't have the complete vision of what happened with this customer, and if you're answering to him like a new first one customer, and who has a loyalty program, you don't see it. It's a shame. So definitely, it's what we have in mind when we develop the platform, and when we develop our new product, is to give to the customer agent the right tool to answer to the customer with personalization.
For sure. And I like that you mentioned that, because obviously I shop online a lot. And when the people I'm contacting do answer me with as you mentioned, sort of informed answers, understanding who I am, where I'm at, etc. It does, help me feel better, because maybe the opposite would be a lot of growing frustration within a brand's customer base. I'm guessing that's something that you guys can observe as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about personalization. In fact, the customer knows that brands have a lot of data on them.
Of course.
They accept that, but they expect in return to have personalization, because a company, a brand can't say that they can't personalize their customer experience because they have all the data, and that's not the point today. So
of course,
the customer, as I said, and the citizen more globally accept that their data could be used, but only if it brings value to them. And in terms of e-commerce, it's all about personalization and ability to adapt and to understand the customer.
No, for sure. I feel really seen and heard. It's like, take my data, but use it to to make it go faster. Cool. And so, globally, as we've been talking about this as well, customer experience, or CX, is really rising to the forefront for many businesses. In your opinion, why has a robust customer experience become indispensable for companies today?
I think that brands can't manage business without focusing on the customer experience. It's really the asset to grow on a sustainable way. So customer experience can take several aspects. It can be, as we said, hyper personalization.
Right.
But it's also a question of right balance between automation and human touch, because we have to be careful not to use too much data, AI, etc. Because at the end, it's a human in front of you, and when it's the customer is disappointed, he hates talking to an AI, to a robot.
It just makes them angrier.
So yeah, it's really a question of right balance. We could talk about gamification also.
Okay.
That's something can be integrated for example, in the easiware platform with loyalty program, etc. Because
right.
I think that it's really something that can be interesting. And and to talk more about customer service in the customer experience subject.
Yes.
Is first, customer service was more here to manage complaints and post sales requests.
Right.
And now we see that the customer service teams have a great role to play also in the pre-sales experience.
Oh, okay.
We see that with a lot of our brands, especially in food and beverage or in cosmetics, because customers they come to have advice about the product,
right,
and information about the product before buying. So yeah, it's a new role, and for us it's interesting because we concentrate on the customer service teams to see that in the customer experience they also take a role, a part before the purchase, and yes, really something that we have to keep in mind. And I would say also I see an analogy between SaaS model I know well and the e-commerce, because we see a more and more subscriptions business model in the e-commerce industry.
Right, of course.
And in the SaaS we are talking about churn, recurring revenue,
of course,
and we see exactly the same thing. And
right.
I think that if brands want to maximize this recurring revenue and lower, of course, the churn, they have to adapt the way they discuss and they manage their customers, pretty much like we do in the customer success management team, for example, in a SaaS company. So yes, it's quite interesting.
Great analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great way to see it, and definitely makes sense with what you're saying, that these sort of customer service teams are bringing more and more value to customers even before they actually become customers. So definitely a very interesting shift in the role.
Yeah.
Also what you mentioned about, historically, these teams have to deal with a lot of complaints. Now they're more here to bring value, and there's potentially some balance to strike between automation, giving sort of this customer autonomy to the end buyer. Also, at the same time, making sure they're able to access human interaction when, they can't find the answer that they're looking for. Really, really interesting stuff. Hope the brands that are listening to this are taking notes. And so you were talking a little bit about churn, about recurring revenue. When it comes to customer retention rates, it has gained some traction in strategic discussions. Could you elaborate a little bit on that the importance and how they can elevate an e-commerce business's performance?
Yes, we are in an ultra competitive world.
Yes.
it's easier and easier to launch an e-commerce site. When I did this in 2008, it was I think that Magento was only in beta.
Wow, no way.
We were not talking about Shopify or PrestaShop or things like that.
That's so vintage.
And now I think that you can launch a website, e-commerce website, really easily. So there is more and more competition. Customers are more demanding and impatient because the standards are higher and higher, due to the larger e-commerce companies such as Amazon. Now, if you don't receive your order in 1 or 2 days, it's horrible.
It's scandalous.
Scandalous. So yes, it's retention is key. Customer retention is key because if they don't find what they want with a brand, they will find something elsewhere. So yeah, it's definitely important. And so brands have to be more and more responsive, and I would say more proactive, even also, because
of course,
and it's a subject you know well at ShipUp.
Maybe.
And that's the same thing. Of course, I manage customer portfolios, and what you can see and what you can find, even the B2B or B2C industries, always the same thing. The customer needs and expect communication.
Yes,
he really doesn't like to face alone a problem and issues, and to be forced to contact the customer success team or the customer service team, depending on the business. So when I'm talking about proactivity, it's really that when you identify an issue, when you identify a problem, be the first to talk to the customer before he contacts you.
Right. Because
even if the problem is still the same, even if your product will arrive in 2 days or 3 days, the problem is the same, but it's really easier for the customer to accept that.
Of course.
So it's really a question of proactivity. And yes, it's quite difficult. Even for we were talking about the NVB pure players. It's difficult for them because they enter a market. They are small. They don't have a lot of tools and means.
Of course.
And they have to adapt to this high level of standards on the market, on the e-commerce market. So that was definitely what we wanted to do, helping them with this new product.
Definitely. I think it's super relatable what you're saying, especially about customer experience, proactivity, that we might know a little bit about. But definitely just putting yourself in the end buyer's shoes, understanding that, if anything is wrong, you'd rather hear it from a brand than find out by yourself and then have to go through the actual action of, contacting this brand, waiting for their answer, etc. There is definitely a better experience to be had. So I love that you're mentioning that, Mathieu. And so if we were to summarize, what is sort of the core value from easiware when it comes to customer relationships in post-purchase? Because you mentioned that some pre-purchase as well, but what would you say the core value of easiware is in the post-purchase realm?
It's mainly on personalization,
right?
As I said, with the detailed customer profile. We talk a lot about self-care and things like that. I think it's important, of course, to give to the customer the ability to solve his issues and problems alone. But when it comes to a direct contact, it's really important for the agent to have all the keys to understand the customer problem and to consider him as a human and not as a ticket, as I said. So yeah, it's something we are really focusing in because after post purchase, it's if the experience is catastrophic, usually there no second
of course
chance to see the customer in your shop or in your e-shop. So we have to give the customer agent and the brands to have a really high level of customer service with this personalization.
Definitely, and it makes sense with the hyper-competitive landscape that you were describing right before, sort of the expectations that are super high, but also, as you said, the opportunity for some of these DNVBs to differentiate based on experience as well. So that's definitely quite interesting. And so you mentioned a little bit on customer services role, and it seems to be having a way stronger role today. How does it enhance customer experiences for most businesses?
Yes, it's not only about advices or complaints as we said before, but it's interesting because there is a lot of useful data coming in the hands of customer agent teams, customer service team. For example, it's this data can help anticipate problems. For example, with Courier, one of our shared customers,
yes,
they identify that 20% of their requests at the customer service was about delivery. And giving this information and the context to the marketing, e-commerce marketing teams, help them to discuss with their providers and understand what was the problem and to be sure that it will be solved definitely. So it's a great way to adapt the company. It's also useful to validate proof of concepts. For example, if you want to test the ship from store, for example, you will do that in few shops, and with the feedbacks and the reviews that the customer service team can handle, you will see that if you are ready to industrialize this model, or if you should maybe not and drop that. So there's with the NPS also the Net Promoter Scores. It's a key KPI for the company because it shows to the whole company, all the employees, even if you are not in the customer service, that the brand is loved and the customer want to promote the brand. So and that's definitely one of the main KPIs of the customer service team, and it's really important to have a strong customer service team because when talking about e-commerce, when you launch for a traditional retailer, when you launch your e-commerce website, you see that a large percentage of the requests you will receive will come from the e-commerce activity.
Okay.
For example, at Petit Bateau, I think that it's something like 80% of the requests are linked to the e-shop activity. So if you don't have a strong customer service,
of course,
you can't develop, you can't launch, for example, your website when you are a traditional retailer. And also, I could say that more generally, all this data is really interesting in terms of customer insights.
Right.
Sometimes the companies pay a lot of consulting firms to have data, etc. But they have all the data.
Of course.
And that's something that we are working a lot with our clients when we do business reviews with the CSMs.
It's amazing.
It's analyzing what the people are saying, and not only the the time it takes to answer to the request, and
the
number of tickets were handled, etc., etc. But going deeper on the quality to understand, to receive feedback, and that can be useful for marketing team, purchase team,
of course,
development teams, etc., etc.
I love what you're saying about, the customer service teams being really the point of contact for, the end buyers, and, them being able to have all these touch points, collect the feedback, collect the data, and, internally, easiware having that expertise to be able to advise in terms of, what can be done based on the data that you collect. I'm sure your customers really, really appreciate that, because obviously tons of data everywhere, but not always a way to, let's say, understand how to apply it and understand, how it can serve these various functions in different businesses.
And have time to analyze this data, because
absolutely
they are really operational, and they have a lot of requests sometimes to manage, to handle. So it's difficult for them to step back and analyze what's going on.
For sure. Also, really appreciated some of the examples you gave with brands like Petit Bateau or Courir. Any other examples to mention when it comes to, data that has helped a brand, make a specific type of decision? I know that those are usually really appreciated by our listeners.
Yeah, it's another example at Courir. I'm sorry, but
It's a great brand.
Well the case. They identified through the customer service team that they had an issue on Wednesday. Wednesday is a big day for purchase on the website at Courir.
Okay.
And they identified that due to the volume, they had an issue with the payment provider, one of their payment provider. I won't tell his name, but so they have decided, waiting this issue to be resolved, that every Wednesday they shut down this channel of payment.
Wow.
To be sure
Okay.
that they won't have requests to manage in the customer service. So yes, we were talking about agility. Ability to adapt, to be reactive, proactive also, of course, but firstly reactive. And that's interesting, because if you have no communication within the company, you say, okay, let's continue with that, and let's receive a lot of requests every Wednesday, but
must have been painful.
You don't adapt. So yes, that's congratulations to them to be
congratulations to Courir.
Agile. But it's really interesting.
That's a wonderful example, actually. Thank you so much for sharing that. Well, this has been super interesting, Matthieu. Before we part ways, do you have any advice for the brands that might be listening to us? If they were in a one-on-one conversation with you or some experts from easiware, what advice would you share with them?
I would share the same advice I share with new entrepreneurs who frequently come to see me and to have advice about entrepreneurship. To listen to the market, listen to the customer.
Right.
When you launch a company, for example, even an e-commerce site, don't go too fast. Don't want to have the perfect website, the perfect offer. Test. Put your product, put your service in the hands of testers, of customers,
right?
And listen really to feedback, because sometimes you are too operational, too concentrate on your
focused,
on your day-to-day task and day-to-day missions, and the analogy is this. It's quite interesting. With I was talking about marketing team and sales team.
Yes.
I think that life is going faster and faster, and this advice could adapt to anyone, in fact. But
that's great.
Step back, listen to what people say, and don't concentrate on your convictions, etc. But really listen to what the customer has to say. As we said, you have a lot of sensitive but also useful data in your hands when you manage customers, and at the end, the client is king. So he chooses. If you don't listen to him, you will go elsewhere to find
for sure
a good service or product.
For sure, that's great advice. So guys, don't listen to your heart, listen to your customers.
Yeah, exactly. More objective.
And without getting you into too much trouble, could you share any insights as to where easiware will be headed for the next 2 to 5 years?
As I said, our new product we are working on for the past 2 years. We'll continue to develop, of course, with more and more features. Of course, innovation in it. It's not only to recreate what was been already created, so. Still a strong focus on that.
Yes.
Right. You see that the industry, the market is quite the economy is quite difficult nowadays. So
for sure,
when talking about international expansion, I think that it will be more a subject in 2 years or something like that. But first, concentrate on the product transformation I was talking about.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And already a big part.
Yeah, for sure. You guys are super busy. And final question for you, Mathieu. Do you plan anytime soon to relaunch your wine selling e-commerce website?
I would love to, but it was really a good experience during 5 years. In fact, I sold my share to one of my partners at the end, so it was not a failure, not at all.
Of course.
But it's difficult because you know that, but in terms of delivery, selling wine is quite difficult because it's heavy, it's fragile, so it costs a lot. And I needed to have a lot of volume to be able to integrate these delivery costs.
Of course.
With a market where the margin are quite low,
right?
So that was the difficulty. So
quite the challenge.
Yeah, and we were talking about not listening too much to our heart, but also to the customers. To answer your question, maybe not, because if I did, I will listen too much to my heart and not to the market.
No, that's great. That's great. I really appreciate you sharing all these stories with us. Well, this has been lovely. Thank you so much, Mathieu, for hopping on the podcast.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much for all the insights. I'm sure our listeners are really glad to be hearing all of this. Thank you so much for tuning in. We can't wait to see you at our next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.